This film is based on a true story. In the opening shots, we see a teenager named Guddu calling out to a little brother named Saru. They climbed onto a train to steal coal, but they were spotted by a security guard. The events take place in 1986 in India. The boys were very happy with their loot and exchanged the coal for 2 bags of milk at the market. The brothers came home, but they did not tell their mother where they got the milk. The family lives very poor, even though the mother works. Soon Guddu was going to leave for a week to earn money. Saru wants to go with him, even though he is only 5 years old. In the end, Guddu gives in and takes his brother with him. They took the train. When the boys arrived, Guddu regretted taking the brother with them, for he would be of no use. Guddu was going to find out about the job, asking Saru to wait for him on the bench. As time passed, the brother was still missing. Saru got worried and started calling for him, and then he went inside the train. There the boy fell asleep. The next time he woke up, the train was on its way. Saru was very frightened and tried to get out, desperately continuing to call for his brother. But no one heard the boy. It was night again, then day. Past the locality, the train drove slowly. Saru asked people for help, but no one responded. The train reached Calcutta, more than 1,000 miles from Kundava County. Finally the door was opened. The street was crowded with people, and Saru was among them. Not knowing what to do, he called for his brother and mother. All the people around were indifferent to Saru's fate, and besides almost no one understood him because he didn't speak Bengali. Seeing some girl on the street, Saru followed her and ended up in an underpass. There are a lot of homeless teenagers and children who are forced to live on the streets. Saru joined them. At night some men came to them, their intentions evidently not good. Saru ran as fast as he could. This was seen by a policeman who did not think to interfere. Finally Saru broke away from the chase. Suddenly he saw people again, who were asleep in the open air. The boy realized that it was a makeshift temple. The next day his wanderings continued. There are very many poor people living here who wash themselves directly in the river. Like them, Saru slept outside on a cardboard and tried to find food during the day. One day he was spotted by a woman who understood Hindi. The boy said he was lost and wanted to go home. The woman, whose name is Noor, took pity on the child, brought him to her house and fed. In order to survive in such conditions, he needs to work. Saru said he could do any kind of work. The woman washed him, and before he went to bed, she told him of a kind man named Rama. He would come tomorrow morning and be able to help. As agreed, Rama came the next morning. He promised Saru that he would try to find his mother, but that he would first take him to a safe place. That would be in the evening. As Rama approached Noor, he whispered that Saru was just what he needed. During the day Saru looked depressed, even refusing a soda. Noor tried to cheer him up. Sensing something wrong, Saru ran away. He recalls carrying heavy stones to help his mother. Now Saru is forced to live on the street, away from his family. It's been like this for 2 months. Saru is living at the landfill. He found a metal spoon in the ground, and then in town he saw a man in a cafe eating soup with a similar spoon. The boy began to repeat his movements. Later, the man approached Saru and asked where he was from. Concerned, the man took Saru to the police. The officers tried to ask the boy where his family lived, but they had never heard of the town of Ganeshtali. Saru was photographed and taken to the orphanage along with the other street children. There are a lot of children here, and living conditions are difficult. At breakfast he met a girl named Amita, who said it was a very bad place. But sometimes some kids find families. During the day children were taught to read and write. Disobedience was punished. That was the fate that befell Shandeep. At night Saru saw Shandeep being taken away. In the morning, Mrs. Sood spoke to Saru. Her job is to look for families of children like Saru. Some time ago they placed an ad in the paper with his picture, but no one responded. Mrs. Sood also reported that she had found good people from Australia who were willing to adopt Saru. The couple's names are John and Sue, and they live in a beautiful house in Tasmania. According to Mrs. Sood, This is the only chance for Saru. He can't stay here. Saru showed a picture of John and Sue Amita. She told him that Australia was good. Mrs. Sood taught the children, soon to be adopted, etiquette. None of them had ever used cutlery before. Soon Saru was put on the plane with his escort, Swarmina. This was all new to the boy. Hobart, Australia, 1987. Saru was greeted by his new parents. They gave him a soft toy. The woman and the man immediately seemed like very kind people to the boy. As they rode in the car, Saru noticed that the streets were clean and there were no crowds of people. John and Sue showed Saru his new home. It was the first time he had ever seen a television set and many other things. The refrigerator was full of food. Saru ate a very hearty dinner and took a bath in the evening. Sue was by his side. She knows that Saru has had a very hard time, but now all the bad things are behind him. A year has passed. Saru spends a lot of time with his parents. Gradually he has fully adapted to his new life. One day they met with Swarmina to adopt another boy named Muntosh. Now Saru has a brother. Unlike Saru, Muntosh proved to be a very restless child. He had tantrums all the time, and the parents did everything they could to calm him down. Out of helplessness, Sue cried at night. One day Saru saw it, wiped her tears away and hugged her. 20 years had passed. Saru has grown up and was getting ready to leave for Melbourne. His parents are very proud of him and happy to have raised such a good son. Since he came into the home, their life has changed for the better. Sue is still hoping that Muntosh will join their family dinner. Later, Saru visits her brother. While Saru is about to go to Melbourne to study hotel business, Muntosh leads an immoral life. Soon Saru began to study. A pretty fellow student named Lucy immediately caught his attention. The students were brought together so they could each talk about themselves. On the street, Saru saw the girl again. Later they sat in the company of mutual acquaintances. Seeing the Indian dishes, Saru remembered his homeland. Jalebi had once been a delicacy beyond his reach, but now he could eat as much of it as he wanted. The friends noticed his depressed state. Saru told them that many years ago he had been lost. He seemed to live in the town of Ganashtali, but it was not on the map. Perhaps Saru had misremembered the name. The friends decide to help him find the family. Saru is still hesitant, thinking it is a bad idea, but he misses his mother very much. As the young people walked down an evening street, Lucy told that her mother had passed away from illness some time before. Her father never got over the loss. Saru and Lucy spent the night together. He can't stop thinking about his mother, who couldn't read or write. Perhaps she hadn't even seen the ad in the paper with his picture on it. Saru began searching on the internet, trying to find the city where he was born. Based on the speed of the passenger trains and the time he spent traveling, Saru calculated the approximate distance. Hobart, Tasmania, 2010. Saru and Lucy live together. Lucy realizes that Saru suffers greatly from not knowing what happened to his family. The young people went for a run together. Looking at the rocks, Saru keeps remembering her childhood. Lucy came to visit Sue. The woman loves both of her children very much, although Muntosh gives them a lot of trouble. His problem is that he cannot control himself. In the evening, the whole family gathers for dinner. Lucy wants Saru to tell the parents about his intention to track down the family, but he is in no mood to do so. Muntosh had another attack of uncontrollable aggression. Saru told his mother that it hurt him to see what Muntosh had done to her. At the party, Lucy could not stand it and tried to talk frankly with her beloved. She is desperate because she doesn't know how to help him. Saru can no longer live with the thought that for 25 years the mother and brother know nothing of his fate. He wants to find them. Also, Saru told Lucy that she deserved better and left. He thought it was for the best. Saru began the search in earnest. Days and weeks passed, but he did not give up, even though the radius of the search was enormous. There were even more people living in India now than before, so the task was very difficult. In the evening, wandering by the river, Saru recalls bathing as a child, with the mother standing beside him. John came to Saru, worried about his adopted son. The parents are very worried about him. John also said that Muntosh had disappeared. One day at the mall, Saru crossed paths with Lucy, who had been very hurt after their breakup. At last they spoke frankly for the first time. Saru told her everything that was on his mind. Lucy said her ex-boyfriend that she had seen his mother, who was suffering a lot. Lucy thinks that Saru should tell her about his search. Saru recalls trying to find food on the streets. Every day was an ordeal for him. Saru asks Lucy to stay with him, but she says she can't. Saru continues to sink into depression, unable to stop thinking about his brother. Finally, Saru decided to talk to his foster mother. It turned out that Montosh was at sea with the fishermen. Tomorrow he must return and get some money, which he would again spend on alcohol. Saru told Sue that he wished she could have had children of her own. The guy was shocked when Sue stated that she could have had children of her own. She and John adopted Saru and Montosh because it was their conscious choice. The couple wanted to make happy children who needed parents. Saru took the mother's hand, feeling guilty. As he got into the car, he began to think of his own mother again. Later, Saru came to see Montosh, who was sleeping soundly. He did not know how to help his brother. Saru is desperate, feeling lost. He continues his fruitless search and suddenly finds a familiar place on a Google map. Saru immediately realizes that this is where he lived until he was 5 years old. More and more memories of the past came back to him. Saru could not hold back his tears. It turned out that the name of the town was not Ganeshtali, but Ganesh Talai. Early in the morning, Saru came to Lucy and told her that he had found his home. She was very happy for him and promised that she would wait for him. Also, Saru told the parents about his search. Sue and John are excited that their son will finally find the answer. The next flight Saru took was to India. It was the year 2012. Saru checked into a motel and on the same day went wandering around the city where he was born. He walked through familiar places and finally reached the house where his family used to live. However, in the place where their house had been, there was now a goat pen. Saru showed a man a picture of himself as a child and explained the situation. The man asked him to follow him. Suddenly Saru, in a state of shock, saw his elderly mother. Surprisingly, she immediately recognized him. The mother and son could not hold back their tears and hugged each other. Saru hardly speaks Hindi anymore, but they understand each other without words. Many people gathered to watch the mother and son reunion. When Saru asked where Guddu was, it turned out that he was no longer alive. Saru wept bitterly. They were joined by Shakila, Saru's grown-up sister. Now the whole family was together. The people around them began to applaud. Saru is very sad that he will never see his brother again. Saru sends a voicemail to Sue and John and says he's found all the answers. The parents now have peace of mind for their son. Saru once again walked around his native places. He would never stop missing his brother. Next, the voiceover tells us about the real Saru Burleis, who has been missing for more than 25 years. His brother Guddu passed away the night Saru fell asleep on the train. Saru's mother Kamla never stopped believing that her son would return, so she refused to move. Saru also learned that he had mispronounced his name all these years. His name was actually Sheru, which means lion.